Every man knows this feeling. You showed up when she needed you. You listened when she was breaking. You stayed when every part of you wondered if you should leave. You thought love was built in time, in effort, in patience. You thought, if you waited long enough, if you proved yourself enough, she would choose you. But she didn't. She gave herself to someone else, easily, quickly, without hesitation, and you're left sitting in the wreckage, not just of love, but of a story you told yourself. And here's the hardest truth of all. She didn't choose him because he was better. She chose him because in that moment, he felt like freedom. And you felt like responsibility. Let that sink in. It was never about you. This video isn't about anger. It isn't about blame. It isn't about teaching you how to win her back. It's about teaching you how to never lose yourself again, because what happened to you wasn't personal. It felt personal. It got like betrayal. But it was never about your worth. It was about human nature. It was about wounds meeting wounds. It was about seeing clearly where you once only saw hope. This is for the man who gave too much, waited too long, held on too tight, not because he was weak, but because he was real. And now it's time to be free. Comment below. I don't chase what walked away. Number 1, desire was never proof of value. You thought her desire meant you were enough. You ask yourself the question every man asks in the dark. Why him? Not in anger, not in jealousy, but in confusion. Because you were sure you did it right. You waited, you listened, you respected her boundaries, you held space for her to feel safe. And for a while, that made you believe you were the kind of man she wanted, but then you found out he didn't wait, he didn't earn her, he didn't even care, and still, she gave him what she withheld from you. No ritual, no hesitation, no slow build-up of emotional intimacy, just yes. And you felt it, didn't you? That slow burn in your chest, that quiet erosion of your self-worth, because in that moment, her desire became your measuring stick. You believed that if she gave herself to him so easily and made you wait, then he must have had something. You didn't. Some edge, some darkness, some raw primal magnetism that you couldn't fake if you tried. But here's the truth. Most men never want to face. Her desire wasn't about him, and it wasn't about you. It was about her moment, her feelings, her emotional state in that exact fragment of time. Desire, especially in a wounded or impulsive woman, is rarely tied to value. It's not a reward for good behavior, not a medal for patience, not a sign that you are enough. Desire is instinct, it is mood, it is memory, pain, rebellion, and sometimes just chaos. You thought that waiting made you noble, but she didn't feel that nobility. She didn't want to be cherished. She wanted to feel alive, and sometimes being respected doesn't make a woman feel that doesn't make her wrong, and it doesn't make you weak. It just means your frameworks were different. She was living through emotion. You were living through meaning. You thought you were building something real. She was just responding to the moment, and in that moment, he happened to be the mirror for her impulsive hunger. Not because he was better, not because you were lacking, but because her body made a choice her soul couldn't explain. You've got to stop trying to translate her desire into your value. You've got to stop trying to find a moral code inside her actions. There isn't one. Desire isn't a language of justice. It's the language of chemistry, chaos, and contradiction. And the moment you tie your worth to who she slept with, you become a man who is forever chasing ghosts. Let this burn now. Let it hollow you out. Not to leave you broken, but to leave you bare, so you can build your truth on something real. Your value doesn't rise and fall with her body count. Your power is not based on how quickly a woman chooses you. Your strength is not measured by how much she desired you, because desire isn't love, and attention isn't proof of soul. And sometimes the most sacred thing you'll ever do is not be chosen. That silence, that space she didn't fill with lust, that was where your freedom began. So breathe. She didn't choose him because you weren't enough. She chose him because that's what she felt like doing. You are not a victim of her impulses. You are not a mirror for her instability. You are a man, and a man doesn't need to be desired to be valuable. He doesn't need to be wanted to be whole. He simply is. Let this be your stillness. Her choices reflect her impulses, not your worth. And now that you see clearly, you never have to beg confusion for answers again. Number 2, she responded to emotion, not effort. There's a quiet lie that men carry after heartbreak, a lie that seeps in slowly, like water under a locked door, a lie that feels noble, feels true, feels right. If I show her patience, if I show her respect, if I wait long enough, if I prove my loyalty, she will love me. But it didn't happen, did it? You sat in that quiet space between effort and hope. You waited in silence. You were kind. You listened. You honored her boundaries. You gave her safety. And you thought, maybe that would open her heart. Maybe that would unlock her desire. But it didn't, because she wasn't moved by your effort. She wasn't stirred by your patience. She wasn't pulled toward you by the careful architecture of your loyalty. No, she responded to something else entirely. Emotion, raw, unpredictable, uncontrollable. She didn't run into the arms of the man who waited. She ran into the arms of the man who moved her, not always with kindness, not always with safety, but with intensity, with mystery, with feeling. And this is where good men get lost. This is where pain becomes confusion. This is where heartbreak feels like betrayal. Because you thought love was earned by effort. You thought women measured men the way men measure themselves, by character, by integrity, by consistency. But desire doesn't follow character. Desire follows feeling. Effort builds respect. Emotion builds attraction. Respect lives in the mind, but attraction that lives in the body, in the gut, in the irrational wildness of human nature. And she wasn't seeking a resume. She wasn't reading off a checklist of good behavior. She was responding, often unconsciously, to whatever made her feel. This doesn't mean you were wrong to wait. This doesn't mean you should change and become someone you're not. But it does mean you have to wake up, because you were playing the wrong game. You were building a house when she was chasing fire. You were offering roots when she was chasing wings, and neither of you were wrong. You were just living on different frequencies. She wasn't waiting to be won. She was waiting to feel, and often the man who makes her feel the most, even if it's confusion, excitement, chaos, or lust, becomes the man she runs toward, not because he's better, not because he's safer, not because he's earned her, but because she was moved. This is the brutal honesty of attraction, and it will hurt you if you keep trying to tie love to labor. Because love is not a wage. Desire is not a salary you earn from showing up on time every day. Love is wild, desire is untamed, and that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it dangerous. So you have to choose. Do you want to be the man who waits forever to be chosen by someone who feels nothing? Or do you want to be the man who stands in his truth, without begging anyone to feel what they don't? Because the truth is, a woman who needs to be convinced will never truly want you. A woman who respects your patience but feels no fire will never touch you with hunger. And you were not made to be a placeholder. You were not made to be an emotional waiting room. You were not made to be the nice guy who gets picked last. You were made to be chosen effortlessly, or not at all. Because real connection doesn't come from proving yourself. It comes from being yourself. It comes from standing so deeply in your own presence that you create emotion without effort, without force, without strategy, without need. This is the power you forgot. You thought your patience was your strength, and in some ways it was. But your true power is your energy, your truth, your boundaries, your ability to make peace with walking away from what doesn't move toward you. Because a man in his power does not wait for someone to feel something. He simply stands in silence and lets whoever is meant for him feel it without words, without waiting, without proving, without struggle. This is your stillness now. This is your lesson. Effort builds respect. Emotion builds desire. Don't confuse the two. Let it cut deep. Let it burn away every illusion you carried about love. Because the man you are becoming is no longer waiting to be chosen. He already chose himself. Number 3, the unavailable man mirrors her wounds. You were stable, he was chaos. You ever wonder why she ran from you? Why she left the calm, the peace, the safety, only to dive headfirst into someone who made her bleed? You were the steady hand, the deep breath, the one who would have built a life, not just a moment, and yet she chose him, the one who didn't call back, the one who joked about commitment, the one who left her crying more than smiling, and you think, what? Did he have that I didn't? You start to question your own gravity. You start to believe that maybe love requires pain. Maybe women don't want safe. Maybe being grounded isn't attractive. And that's where the lie gets in, quietly, because she didn't run from you because you were weak. She ran from you because you were healed, and healing feels foreign to the wounded. You see, some women don't want peace, not because they're bad, not because they enjoy suffering, but because chaos feels like home. You were calm water, and calm water reflects clearly, too clearly. She saw herself in your stillness, her fears, her flaws, her unworthiness. But in him, she saw distraction. She saw validation through struggle. She saw a fight that mirrored the war already inside her, because when you're used to being unseen, unloved, abandoned, you don't trust softness. You don't believe in stability. You crave the high that comes from proving you're finally enough to someone who treats you like you're not. It's not love. It's a trauma bond. And trauma bonds don't need logic, they need chaos. So she chased the one who activated her wounds, not the one who could help heal them, because healing hurts more than repeating what you know. You didn't ignite her defenses. You didn't trigger her drama. You didn't play the game. And in her world, that made you boring, too easy, too available, too safe. But brother, let me tell you something that will quiet every storm. In your chest, it was never a rejection of your worth. It was a reflection of her readiness. She didn't walk away from you. She walked away from the mirror you held up, the one that showed her how far she still had to go to be whole. So never envy the man she's self-destructed with. He didn't win. He was just the next lesson she wasn't ready to outgrow. And you were the test she couldn't pass yet, because your love required evolution, not performance. She wasn't ready for real. She was still addicted to familiar. So she ran back to what felt like home. Even if it burned her, don't follow her into the fire. Don't try to become the chaos just to feel desired, because your power is in your peace, your presence, your refusal to become smaller just to fit someone's wounds. You are not the backup plan. You are not the second choice. You are the next level, but not everyone is ready to rise, and that's not your burden to carry. It's not your job to fix what she keeps breaking. Let her go. Let her learn. Let her drown in what she chose, not because you wanted her to suffer, but because you finally chose yourself. There's a reason you were steady. There's a reason you were calm. There's a reason you stood still when everything inside you wanted to run after her. You were not made to chase broken things. You were made to build a life, legacy, a love that doesn't need healing as a precondition. So breathe. You were never boring. You were never too much. You were just real, and real scares people who live in illusion. Now, repeat this truth until it no longer hurts. Never envy the man she self-destructed with, because the storm was never meant to keep you. It was meant to show you what you'll never settle for again. Number 4, love is not transactional. You thought waiting would earn her, but love is not a vending machine. It's not built on how much time you put in, not built on fairness. The world and love doesn't owe you balance. Attachment wants to earn love. Freedom attracts it. You thought waiting would earn her, didn't you? You thought if you were patient enough, quiet enough, steady enough, present enough, eventually she'd see, eventually she'd wake up in the middle of the night and realize you were everything she had been looking for. That's what you told yourself. That's what you built your pain on. That time was on your side, that love was a ledger, that your sacrifice, your loyalty, your faithfulness were building credit in her heart, and one day it would pay out. But it didn't. She left anyway, maybe for someone else, maybe for herself, maybe for no reason at all. And now you sit with a question that cuts deeper than betrayal. Why wasn't it enough? You rerun every conversation, every silent moment you waited for her to heal, every night you stayed when your soul told you to go, because you believed what good men are taught to believe, that love is earned, that love is a transaction. You believed love was something you deserve if you work hard enough, and that is the lie, a quiet lie, a noble lie, a lie that kept you in her shadow longer than you should have stayed. Because love is not payment. Love is not a reward. Love is not built like the rest of life, not like your work, not like your routines, not like your goals. Love is wild. Love is free. Love is deeply, painfully unfair. And that's what hurts the most, isn't it? Not that she left, but that everything you gave didn't matter the way you thought it would, because love doesn't run on effort. Love runs on connection, energy, alignment. And connection is not built by doing more. Connection is built by being seen, seen without trying, seen without struggle, seen without begging. But you weren't taught that. You were taught that loyalty wins, that patience proves worth, that if you just hold the line long enough, she will choose you. Brother, she didn't leave because you failed. She left because love cannot be earned from someone whose heart is closed, and no amount of waiting, no amount of good behavior, no amount of sacrifice can make someone love who is not ready to love. This is what breaks most men. This is what turns their hearts bitter. This is where anger comes in and poisons the well. But you are not. here to be poisoned. You are here to wake up, to see clearly, to love without attachment, to give without expectation, to stand without needing anything in return. Because this is the Stoic truth. Love is not transactional, effort does not guarantee it, patience does not buy it, suffering does not increase your odds. Love is not a contract signed in silence, it is not a debt owed because you stayed longer than anyone else. Love flows where it flows. And when it flows away from you, that is not failure, that is freedom. Freedom from the illusion, freedom from the invisible contract. You thought she signed freedom from the false belief that you must earn what is freely given. She left, not because you lacked effort, not because you lacked loyalty, not because you lacked patience. She left because love does not bend. To fairness, it bends only to truth, and the truth is this. Real love doesn't come to the man who waits the longest. Real love comes to the man who waits for nothing, who needs nothing, who gives from overflow, not emptiness, who shows up whole, not to earn but to share, who walks away from what does not rise to meet him. Without bitterness, without anger, without blame. You thought waiting would earn her, but now you know better. You know love is not a transaction. You know effort is not a currency. You know attachment begs to earn love, but freedom. Freedom attracts its stand in that freedom now. Let the silence hold you. Let the truth keep you grounded. You do not wait to be chosen. You are already whole. And anyone who cannot see that was never yours to lose. Attachment wants to earn love. Freedom attracts it. Let that be your peace. Let that be your power. Let that be your new life. Number 5, she didn't betray you. She revealed herself. You feel betrayed, but you were never owed. People don't betray their nature, they reveal it. When she gave herself to another man so quickly, she showed you exactly who she is. That was a gift. Clarity is mercy in disguise. It felt like betrayal, didn't it? Like the ground opened beneath you. Like someone pulled the air out of your lungs while you stood there, still holding on, still believing, still waiting. And then you found out. Maybe she left quietly. Maybe she left loudly. Maybe she didn't leave at all. She just shifted. Her words became colder. Her eyes stopped seeing you. And then came the truth. She had already given to another man what she told you she wasn't ready to give. Her heart, her body, her laughter, her time. It stung like betrayal. It looked like betrayal. It felt like betrayal. But here's the thing nobody tells. She didn't betray you. She revealed herself. You thought you were building something solid. You thought love was growing between you. But love that collapses so quickly was never real. Love that crumbles overnight was built on sand. And what she gave him so easily was never stolen from you. It was never yours. It was just waiting for a moment to show its truth. You see, people don't betray their nature. They don't wake up one day and become something else. They simply stop hiding. And when she gave herself to another man, quickly, easily, without pause, she wasn't betraying you. She was unveiling who she always was. That wasn't punishment. That wasn't injustice. That was clarity. And clarity is mercy in disguise. Because what would have hurt more? Living another year, another 5, another 10, believing in a version of her that never existed, or seeing the truth now, while you still have your life ahead of you. Pain is the price of truth, but truth will always cost less than illusion. I know you wanted to believe in her potential. I know you wanted to believe that your patience would change her, that your love would heal her, that your loyalty would teach her how to love you back. But love is not a lesson you can teach. It is either awakened in someone, or it isn't. And in her, it wasn't. She was who she was. She is who she is. And that's not your failure. That's not your loss. That is your freedom, because you cannot lose what was never truly yours. You cannot be betrayed by someone who never stood on the same ground you did. She didn't owe you loyalty, not because loyalty doesn't matter, but because loyalty has no meaning unless it is given freely. And she showed you she could not give it, not to you, maybe not to anyone. And this is the part where men break or rise. This is the part where you choose. You can cling to the idea of betrayal and let it poison your future. You can let it harden your heart, let it close you off, let it make you small, let it turn you into the very thing you despise, or you can see it for what it was. Revelation, not betrayal, liberation, not loss. She showed you her truth, and the only thing left for you to do is to show her yours. Not in anger, not in revenge, not in bitterness, but in silence, in peace, in walking away so completely, so cleanly, so finally, that no part of her chaos can follow you. That is how a man ends a story, not by shouting, not by pleading, not by asking why, but by knowing that the worst thing she did to you was also the best thing she did for you. She showed you she wasn't your future. She showed you you were not on the same path, not in the same story, not building the same life. That is not betrayal, that is clarity, and clarity is mercy in disguise. Let it wash over you. Let it cleanse every wound. Let it remind you who you are, not the man who was betrayed, the man who was freed. People don't betray their nature. They reveal it. That was a gift. Clarity is mercy in disguise. Let that be your truth now. Let that be your peace. Let that be the end of this chapter and the beginning of something far, far greater. Number 6, your pain is the death of illusion. It hurts because the fantasy died. The pain isn't about losing her. It's about losing the story you told yourself. That story needed to die. Now you stand at the edge of truth, raw, empty, ready. Grief is the price of awakening. It hurts, doesn't it? More than you thought it would, more than you thought it should. You tell yourself you should be over it by now. You tell yourself to be strong, to move on, to stop thinking about her, to stop missing someone who clearly wasn't yours. But that ache in your chest, that slow dragging heaviness behind your ribs, it lingers. And here's the truth. No one says out loud. It doesn't hurt because she's gone. It hurts because the story died. The story you built in your head. The one where she loved you like you loved her. The one where it all worked out if you just stayed patient enough. The one where your loyalty would heal her. The one where you were finally chosen. That story, not her, is what's killing you right now. That story became your shelter, your hope, your purpose. And when she walked away, she didn't just take herself. She took the version of life you were holding on to. And that's why it feels like death. Because it is. The death of illusion. The death of a dream. The death of a man you used to be, a man who still believed love was supposed to look a certain way, a man who still believed effort guaranteed outcome, a man who still believed fairy tales existed for people like you. But fairy tales are for sleeping men. You are waking up. This pain is not punishment. It's not proof that something went wrong. It's proof that something false has ended. And that's what grief really is. Grief is not just about loss. Grief is about facing life without the lies that once comforted you. You told yourself she was different. You told yourself the love was pure. You told yourself you were close, so close, to having everything you thought would make you whole. But love based on illusion will always require suffering. It will always require you to ignore reality, to overlook the red flags, to justify what hurts, to betray yourself a little every single day. And so the universe, God, life itself, had to end it for you. Because you wouldn't. You wouldn't let go of the dream. You wouldn't let go of the version of her you built in your mind. But she wasn't that woman. And deep down, you knew the story you were clinging to was fragile. You knew you were carrying dead weight. You knew you were building on sand. But men like you, men with heart, men with patience, men with depth, we hold on longer than we should. We want the story to win. We want love to conquer all. We want to believe that goodness is enough. But this life doesn't reward attachment. It rewards truth. And truth requires death. The death of illusion. The death of comfort. The death of fantasy. That's why this pain feels endless, not because she mattered that much, but because the man you were can't exist without that story, and the man you are becoming can only exist once it's gone. This is why it hurts, not because you lost her, but because you lost the version of yourself who still believed love was supposed to save you. Love doesn't save you. Love doesn't fix you. Love meets you where you stand, whole, real, stripped of fantasy. And so this pain, this unbearable, hollow ache, it is doing its job. It is burning away every lie, every excuse, every story you told yourself that kept you small, kept you chasing, kept you blind. This is not the end of you. This is the end of who you were. And on the other side of this death is life, a life built on clarity, a life built on peace, a life built on truth. But truth is expensive. And grief is the price of awakening. So sit with it, feel it, let it break you completely. Because the man who rises from these ashes will never again sell his soul for a dream. He will never again beg love to stay. He will never again wait for what doesn't move toward him. He will never again mistake illusion for intimacy. This is your death, and this is your rebirth. It hurts because the fantasy died. That story needed to die. Grief is the price of awakening. Let it hurt, let it cleanse you, let it end. Because what comes next is the man you were always meant to be. Number 7, power is quiet detachment. The strongest man doesn't chase or hate. Real power isn't about proving a point. It's not about revenge. It's not even about moving on faster than her. It's about silence, acceptance, peace, when nothing she does shakes you anymore. You are free. Detachment is the final form of power. You've probably imagined it, the moment she sees you again and realizes what she lost. The look in her eyes, the silence that follows, you walking away, strong, composed, untouchable. Maybe with someone new, maybe alone, but unshaken. You've thought about it, not because you're bitter, but because you want closure. You want her to know she was wrong, that you were worth it, that the way she discarded your heart without a second glance wasn't okay. But here's the truth, brother. Real power isn't about making her regret it. It's not about proving your worth to the one who didn't see it. It's not even about moving on faster, loving louder, or pretending you've already healed. Real power is quieter than that. It doesn't perform, it doesn't post, it doesn't play pretend. Real power is detachment, the calm, still voice inside you that says, I no longer need anything from this. No response, no apology, no validation, no final word, just peace. But that kind of detachment doesn't come from pride. It doesn't come from pretending you don't care. It doesn't come from trying to forget. It comes from acceptance, full, brutal, quiet acceptance. She did what she did. She made her choices. She left. She lied. She stopped choosing you. And that wasn't fair. It wasn't right. But it happened. And once you stop fighting that truth, once you stop needing it to make sense, you begin to reclaim yourself, because every time you hope she'll come back, every time you wonder what she's doing now, every time her name still rattles your bones, you're handing her your power. Not because you love her, but because you haven't let go of the attachment. You haven't truly detached. Detachment doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you no longer need anything. It means her happiness doesn't validate you. Her absence doesn't destroy you. Her silence doesn't haunt you. It means you are whole, with or without her acknowledgement, with or without her closure, with or without her understanding. You stop needing revenge. You stop needing to win the breakup. You stop trying to prove anything. You just live. And when you finally get to that place, where her name doesn't move you, where her new relationship doesn't trigger you, where her memory passes through you like wind through trees, you have become free. Not because you fought harder, not because you forced yourself to heal faster, but because you surrendered the story. You let her go, not in anger, not in shame, but in clarity. She was never yours to keep. She was a chapter, not the whole book, and now you're writing again. New ink, new tone, new power. There is no need to make noise. There is no need to prove your strength. Your silence is the proof. The world will try to pull you back into pettiness, to seek closure, to post something clever, to show her what she lost. But you're past that now. You don't chase, you don't hate, you don't look back, you detach. Because detachment is not the absence of feeling. It's the refusal to let feeling control you. It's the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth, without needing anyone else to echo it. So breathe deep, let go. Not because you don't care, but because you finally understand. She doesn't need to see your worth. You do. Detachment is the final form of power. And when you have that, nothing she does, nothing she says, nothing she chooses can ever take it from you again. Brother, this was never about him. And it was never really about her. It was always about you. About the story you told yourself, about the meaning you placed in someone else's hands, about the quiet hope that love would save you, when, all along, it was asking you to save yourself. You waited, you gave, you stayed longer than you should have, not because you were weak, but because you believed in something pure. That's not a flaw. That's not a failure. That's proof you loved from the deepest part of you. But now you see clearly, she didn't sleep with him because you lacked something. She didn't leave because you were lesser. She didn't pull away because you weren't good enough. She acted from her story, from her wounds, from her chaos, not from your worth. And now you are awake at this pain. This heartbreak, it didn't break you. It broke the illusion. It broke the part of you that believed love is earned through suffering, that patience guarantees loyalty, that effort creates belonging. None of that is true. Love is not earned. Love is met. And if she couldn't meet you there, that was never your burden to carry. Now you stand at the edge of truth, quiet, still, unshaken. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about proving a point. This is about peace. This is about walking away. Not to punish her, not to teach her a lesson, but to honor yourself, because the man you are becoming doesn't chase closure, doesn't beg for validation, doesn't look back at what already let go of him. He closes his own wounds, he builds his own peace, and he rises, not louder, but quieter, solid, whole, free. Let this be your new beginning. Let this be your calm. Let this be the final thing you say to yourself. I am not who I used to be. Comment it below. Write it like a promise. And subscribe if you're walking away in silence, not to prove a point, but to protect your peace.